Hello, my name is Nupur Shah, and today the topic given to me is ankylosing spondylitis. So before we begin, I would like to tell you that this video is divided into two parts, and this is the first part of the video. So coming on to the introduction, it is the chronic inflammatory disease of unknown origin which mainly affects the axial skeleton. It starts from the SI joint and then progresses upwards. That is, it then progresses towards lumbar spine, thoracic spine and the cervical spine. But mainly it affects the pelvis and the SI joints. Males are more affected than females. As per research, the age group of this disease is 19 to 40 years and mostly it is of idiopathic origin. Causes: genetic predisposition of HLA-B27 antigen is found in the blood test. Bacterial cause is also there, and idiopathic, that is the cause of unknown origin. Classification: it is divided into degeneration, inflammatory, psychogenic, connective tissue diseases such as SLE, polymyositis, dermatomyositis, spondyloarthropathies such as AS, ankylosing spondylitis, psoriatic arthritis. Degenerative, we all know that osteoarthritis falls in the category of degenerative wear and tear disease. Inflammatory is RA, rheumatoid arthritis, and the conditions such as fibromyalgia falls under the category of psychogenic. Diagnostic criteria for ankylosing spondylitis are as follows. Low back pain with stiffness since 3 months and it is not relieved by rest or any other conservative management. So the main part here is the low back pain which is happening to the patient is continuous. That means it is constant. It disturbs the sleep of the patient and not even a single position is comfortable to the patient. It hardly gets relieved by analgesics. Pain, the other diagnostic criteria are pain and stiffness at SI joint, decreased range of motion and the lumbar spine in the frontal and the sagittal planes, then difficulty in breathing, reduced chest expansion. Sacroiliitis is seen in the X-ray, which is either bilateral or unilateral. So these are the diagnostic criteria through which we can come to know that the patient might be having AS. Then if the patient is suffering from chronic AS, then when he comes to the OPD and the way he walks or the way he turns around, the way he gets onto the couch like that, we can also judge something that it might be AS. Clinical manifestations will be pain which is increased during the rest time and morning stiffness is present. Postural changes, as you can see here, left hand side is the normal posture and on the right hand side the patient of AS is standing with a stooped posture. The patient is having forward head with stooped posture in the shoulders, that is the rounded shoulders are there and kyphosis is also present. So this is the posture which is typically seen in the AS patient, which is also known as question mark posture, which includes loss of lumbar lordosis, fixed kyphosis, compensated extension of the cervical spine and protuberant abdomen. This is known as the question mark posture, which is seen in AS. Enthesitis is present, which is inflammation of enthesis. That means the site where the tendon or the ligaments enter into the bone. Compression fracture at the vertebral column, especially the thoracic spine, is seen in the chronic cases. Then question mark posture, as we saw in the previous slide, and paraspinal muscle spasm is usually present and we have to palpate it to rule out the paraspinal muscle spasm. Here you can see the X-ray. You can see the squaring of the vertebral body in the lateral view and we don't see any curve in the lateral view. This is also known as bamboo spine appearance. Initially there is squaring of the vertebrae and later on, because of the loss of the lordosis, we typically see the X-ray as if it is the bamboo spine. So it is called as bamboo spine appearance. This is the cervical, where again you can see loss of lordosis and the vertebrae are square in shape. Mobility assessment, these are the tests which we usually do to assess the mobility. First is the finger to floor test. Next is the lumbar mobility assessment, that is the test name is Schober's test. Then lumbar lateral flexion test, occiput to wall test, and finally the chest expansion is checked for thoracic mobility. This is how we do the finger to floor test. The patient is asked to bend forward without bending the knees, and then we have to measure the distance from the tip of the index finger to the floor and note it down. And we need to check this whether through our treatment any mobility improvement has occurred or not. So we have to keep the data of the baseline, and after subsequent sessions we have to check this mobility again by this test. This is the Schober's test for lumbar mobility again. So how do we do it? First of all, at the level of the PSIS, we mark in the center, and from there we take 10 centimeters above and mark again, and 5 centimeters below and mark there. And from there we place the measure tape, and after placing the measure tape we ask the patient to bend forward, that is do forward flexion. Once it does forward flexion, the difference in the measurement should be more than 5 centimeters. If it is less than 5 centimeters, then the test is considered positive, and it is considered that there is some stiffness at the lumbar area. This is the occiput to wall test. We have to ask the patient to stand against the wall straight, and he has to touch the heels on the wall, and the head has to be he has to try that the head touches the wall. But if the patient is having AS, subacute or chronic stage, then the head won't be able to touch the wall, and that distance we have to measure, that is from the occiput to the wall. The distance has to be measured, and it has to be noted down. Same way, after giving the physiotherapy treatment, we have to compare the distance from the occiput to wall after subsequent sessions, and so that we can come to know whether the forward head posture is corrected a bit or not. Now the next will be the PT management, which will be done in the next video. Thank you.